No.
Hey, Breaking Brown fam, what's going on? It's Yvette Carnell coming to you as I do every Monday and Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're here again to have a conversation. We got a lot of conversations to get through. I normally give you time to get your libations, get your life together, do whatever you have to do. I don't want to hear too much about it, but I normally give you time to get yourself together. I'm going to give you time to do that today as well. Do what you got to do. Put the baby down. I don't know what you got going on at your house. Whatever you got going on at your house, take care of whatever's going on at your house because we got a lot to get through today. I want to get to some of the callers. I want to get to 3 important subjects. One more important. Well, I can't say more important. One more important than the other, but one that is really, in my mind, just we have to discuss it and we have to discuss it in depth. So I want to do that. But I want to give you the time to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We're not from now on, we're not really even going to be on, we're not going to be on Facebook because Facebook just has too many hiccups. It's got too much going on. So we decided to just kind of leave that alone for right now. If you all have some types of solutions or something we need to do, then I'll be happy to hear them. But, it is what it is. Hey, John. Hey Jenny, hey everybody on YouTube. I put up a message on Facebook so if people don't know, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you also hit the bell. There's a bell that's right there so you can get my message. If you can get notified if I'm on, I come on, I do a quick take, any of that kind of stuff, you can get the message. So hit that little bell. It's right beside the subscribe button. Take care of that for me. Also, if you want to donate to what we're doing, go to donatebrown.com. You can also go to breakingbrown.com and subscribe to the weekly newsletter. It's $2 a month. That's 50 cents for every Sunday newsletter for you, and it goes directly to your inbox. So do that. Take care of that if you want to take, and that's at breakingbrown.com as well. So you can go to breakingbrown.com and donate. You can go to breakingbrown.com and get the newsletter. You can go to Donate Brown if you just want to, donatebrown.com if you just want to make a one-time donation. Subscribe to brown.com if you just want to be added to the list, just in case stuff goes left. I just want to, somebody said, hey, Aaron, I just want to put that out there. Okay. So we're going to get started. Now. We have a few hundred people who have come in, and we're going to get started. Anybody, if you want to be a moderator, throw your hand up and let Iremy know. So now we're going to get started because like I said, I have a lot to get through and I don't have a lot of time to get through it. Because people fall off, people have low attention spans, things happen, they get on my nerves, but it's all right, we're going to get through it. I want to start with something that doesn't typically come out, and it doesn't typically, you don't think of it as political necessarily, right? And it's a pond that I don't normally swim in, but I think I need to swim in it tonight for a little while, not for a long while, just to kind of provide some context, okay? Just to provide some context. Now, you all know Jesse Williams. Everybody knows Jesse Williams from the whole BET speech. You all remember this speech he made at BET? You all remember everybody was going crazy over the BET speech and what he said and everything. And he was woke. Everybody now, they woke. That's the whole thing. We woke. That's the whole thing you hear. Well, okay. And I'm not about to go in on Jesse Williams about anything, but I just want to make a couple of points because now we find out that he's the black woman he was married to for about 5 years. They are apparently going their separate ways. That's got a lot of y'all talking. So considering that Jesse Williams was a Black Lives Matter guy who was, from everything I've seen, trying to do something good for the community, I figure we have to have a kind of discussion about what this means, especially since if you read the gossip magazines or what people are trafficking on today, they're saying that he's leaving for a white woman. So that's becoming a problem. People are upset. Black women are upset. They thought Jesse Williams was woke. Well, Jesse Williams, for his part, we'll get to that later. He's kind of, I don't know whether he's denying it or not denying it, but we know they're breaking up. And the only thing, the thing I really want to say about that, one of the things that stood out with me, and put that bigger, Iremy, if you can. Put that. This is a quote from Jesse Williams at the BET when he made the BET speech. This is a quote from him. And this was the quote. The speech was good about everything that's happened and all that. And it was a good speech. But there was one thing that stood out for me in the whole speech. And it was a part that he talked about. And as someone pointed out on the thing, he's mixed. And that's true. But he said something about black women in terms of black men not being here for black women. And even at that moment, I kind of felt like that was going to come back to bite. Because you should not invest yourself in someone's mate. You politics. You should invest in who their politics is and and because when I look at that, when people say, well, what we had with a lot of black women was basically them saying, well, he's got him a sister, he got him a black woman, and we're gonna put up the picture of him, we can put up the picture of him and his wife, but he was married to a black woman. I think she was a former real estate agent or whatever. But what you had was a lot of people viewing Jesse through the lens of who his wife was. And the only thing I'm telling you, that you can be married to a black woman or a white woman. You could be married to a white woman that have good politics. You could be married to a black woman that have awful politics. I mean, let's talk about Obama, right? Like, he's married to Michelle. What did that get you? What did that get me? So that's what I want to bring into the conversation from a political standpoint, being invested in somebody who has good politics. And I'm not saying that there aren't people who are just awful. I'm not saying that there are not people who are just awful in terms of their politics, who are in interracial relationships, who obviously got into those relationships to escape and to run away. One of those people who kind of jumps to my mind, Mr. 12 Years a Slave, what is his name? Mr. Ridley? What's his name, Aaron?
John Ridley.
John Ridley. Oscar winner. 12 Years a Slave. When you talk about people who are really just trying to get away through any means necessary. Let me just read something. Let me just read something that he wrote. And this was a while ago.
I meant the dog. I'm surprised that piece didn't kill that movie.
Because I don't think anybody remembers. We're talking about a piece from Esquire from like 2000 and 2006. And I don't think people remember just how awful that was. First of all, the headline used the N-word. It was the manifesto of ascendancy for the modern America N-word. That's what he did. That's what Mr. Ridley did. And this is from the notes. This is from the Chronicles of Those Who Are Trying to Get Away from Blackness. He said, let me tell you something about Niggers. That's what he said. The oppressed minority within our minority, always down, always out, always complaining that they can't catch a break, notoriously poor about doing for themselves, constantly in need of a leader, but unable to follow in any direction that's navigated by hard work, self-reliance. And though they spliff and drink and procreate their way onto welfare doles and WIC lines, Niggers will tell you their state of being is no fault of their own. I'm actually surprised Esquire published this. This is awful. They are not responsible for their nearly 5% incarceration rates and their 9.2% unemployment rate. Not responsible for the 11.8% rate at which they drop out of high school, for the 69.3% of the births they create out of wedlock. I mean, this is worse. This is worse than like Stormfront. Now let me tell you something about my generation of black Americans. We are inheritors of the deal, forced upon the entrenched white social, political, and legal establishment when my parents' generation won the struggle for civil rights. Blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something. This is just another Negro who don't know nothing. Like, he just don't know. And like, how do you expect him to? And so he gets to write this thing. This is worse than Stormfront. This is worse than white supremacists. And he wrote this in 2006 and got away with it. And so he has this movie out now, which is called Gorilla. And what he did was basically put in the leading role an Indian woman instead of a black woman. This was and to give you context, Gorilla was based in London, and it was about the Black Power movement in London. And when you asked him about the role and why he put the Indian in the role, he didn't say, well, I did this because, don't put that one up.
Oh, okay.
He didn't. He said I didn't. He said he didn't say I did this because of there were a lot of people of color who were good. There were people of color who were banding together. He didn't anchor it in historical fact. You know what he said? He said, well, here's the thing. I'm in an interracial relationship, and I just want to kind of see that on the screen. That's who he is. Like how can you be that narcissistic to say that? To say that I just want to see myself portrayed on the screen because this is some of the stuff that we go through. Now put up clip number 3. Let's go back to Jesse Williams. Put up that clip.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can put up that one first. This is the movie. We're talking about Gorilla. This article right here is an Atlanta Black Star article. So you can read that article and find out more about him basically just saying, I don't.
And she's not just a co-star. I saw the trailer.
No, she runs it. She's a star. She's a star.
Yeah.
It's like her show.
It's her show.
And, it's funny how, so a black woman doesn't get to be the lead in a movie about black empowerment. That's interesting. And the black guy, and this is what we talk about in terms of the gatekeepers. It's a black guy who's doing the movie. So I'm happy like the movie is failing, basically. Like 100 and some thousand. I can get 60,000 right here for a video. You got 100,000? Come on, man. Like, so he's failing, and that's like, I'm happy. You can't just be pro-black about everything. So back to your boy Jesse. What they're saying is that, he was, back in the day when he was sort of a dreadlock. You didn't know he had dreadlocks, did you? I didn't. When he was a dreadlock guy, he was down.
Terrence Trent D'Arby? Little Terrence Trent D'Arby?
Yeah, I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that trying to find himself.
Little Milli Vanilli, Terrence Trent D'Arby?
Trying to find himself, child.
What's the song Terrence Trent D'Arby had?
I suppose that was an Ian thing back then. Was that an Ian thing?
I'm trying to figure out Terrence. YouTube, tell me
I
Terrence
had
Trent
locks, but
Tell me. What's TTD song?
And I'm not saying that he did any. People are just, there are all kinds of accusations that have been made. I'm not saying anything about that. The only thing I'm saying is that you should never have been invested in him because of something of who he was married to. You should be invested in him like, I like politics. I like his politics. He has good politics.
He does have good politics.
Or he has awful politics. Whatever the case may be, you can't be invested in somebody just because that will get you bamboozled. That's how we got bamboozled with Obama. Well, Obama, he married Michelle, so he got to be about that business. She validated him. You got to stop letting let people validate you. That's not how it works. You don't get to get validated by somebody else. That's not how it works. You judge people day in and day out based on who they are. You judge them every day, and you don't judge them just on what they did in the past. Every day you judge them anew.
Boop, boop,
right? So that's what has to happen.
Boop, 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 boop.
I think Iron is singing or something. You singing Terrence Trent D'Arby?
I'm thinking a little Terrence Trent D'Arby.
But I'm just saying celebrities opt out all the time. Celebrities opt out all the time. So I'm just saying that like you have to say that like Barack Obama, who was detrimental to black people, he married a black woman. You have to say that you have Frederick Douglass who married a white woman. You have to say that you have Ridley, who's in an interracial relationship and is letting that manifest on the screen in ways that are wholly detrimental to black people. So you can't tell anything by any of this. You just got to judge people as people. That's all I have to say about that part of it. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like Ridley's trying to escape. He's trying to get out. He wants to go. He don't want to be here. He don't like us. He don't just like what's the other director's name?
Oh,
Empire.
Lee Daniels.
Lee Daniels
He's
don't like,
not about
but he
our life.
certainly doesn't like black women. Like he said, he went into like what did he go into like an AIDS place, and he said it was like a welfare because there was so many welfare center because there was so many black women there. Yeah, that's a person who doesn't like black women. But
so we have to about Jesse Williams. What does it mean to be there for black women then?
That's a good question. I mean, I think
because I like his speech. I like what I like.
But,
I think he's actually good. I like his politics.
But when he said that, it sounded like he was saying be there for black women, and I'm just trying to say it sounded like be there for black women and as a romantic partner. That's how it sounded to me. That's how it came off to me. We're gonna be there for you, and we need to be better. That's what it sounded like. Now I don't know, and I don't know who his next mate is going to be. I know rumors abound, but I don't know. So it is what it is. Ooh, somebody's being awful in the comments. So, anyway, I'm not even going there. Now, speaking of Obama, which we brought up before, that brings me to your favorite ex-black president, your favorite Kenyan white president, your man, Barack Obama, please. He signed. He got a $400,000. $400,000 is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's all of our chat. No, all of our chat just has debt. Like,
yeah, somebody said. I think Antonio said, "What's the rumor?" The rumor is that he has a white woman from another movie. That he's transitioning from black to white, even with all that stuff about black people. But let me move on to your. Since I got to move on to this. This last thing that we're going to cover is really important to me. So I have to get through this because this last section that we're covering is really, really important to me. I got to cover this, but I got to talk about your boy. I got to talk about your boy. His $400,000 speech. It's a Wall Street speech. It's an investment company, investment bank, talking about capital. This is, and I want you to, let's just frame this. First of all, you all know, if you've been here, you know I like to frame things. That's what I do. I want to frame it correctly so that people understand. Okay? I want to just talk about the things that Obama has done since he left the White House. Just, people keep talking about Trump has been in the White House 100 days. That also means Obama has been out of the White House 100 days. So let's talk about everything that he's done since he's been gone. The first thing that we can talk about is these $400,000. Okay? Now let me just, before you say what I think you're going to say, that everybody does it, let me just break something down real quick. A $400,000 speaking fee, this is from the New York Times. A $400,000 speaking fee for addressing the Cantor Fitzgerald Conference is a sharp increase from the amounts typically paid to his predecessor. Former President Bill Clinton averaged about $200,000 a speech, while former President George W. Bush is reportedly paid $100,000 to $175,000 for each appearance. $400,000 compared to $200,000 compared to $100,000 to $175,000. That's a big increase. But I'm going to get to why he got that big increase, but let's talk about everything he's done. We've seen him with billionaire Richard Branson. What were they doing? They were skydiving or something.
This looks like a happy Negro right here.
Oh, he's so happy. He's so smiling. He looks so happy and he looks so single. But I'm sorry. That's so messy, ain't it? He looks so happy, don't he? We've seen him with Branson. That's one of the things that we've seen. We've seen him, I don't know whether he was windsurfing or I don't know what rich people do. Skydive. What was he doing with I don't know. But he was doing something with Richard Branson. So we've seen him hang out with billionaires. We've seen him get a $400,000 speech. We've seen him get a $60 million. Him and Michelle got a $60 million book deal. We saw that. What else did we see? We saw him set up his board. He has a board. Obama has a board now. Guess what? The board is made up of mostly equity people. We're talking capital. We're talking big money. He has like his sister on there and somebody else, but we're talking capital. What you see with Obama is him entrenched capital. You see capital just calcifying his personal life.
Not a lot of community organizers and people.
No, equity investors. It's all equity investors. Equity investors. And the reason that you see that, the reason that you see Obama doing that, and you see his life being so lucrative now, is because the bankers that he rescued, they should have been in jail, and they're not in jail because of him. So this is payment for services rendered. He said, if you read, there's a book by Ron Susskind called Confidence Men. If you read Confidence Men, I'll put a link in it when this is over with. Okay? If you read Confidence Men, he's told the bankers, I'm the only thing in between you and the pitchforks. He told the bankers, I'm going to protect you from the American people. That's what he did. And now it's time for the payday. You think Branson just like him? You think that's what they are? No, they don't have any affection. They have an affection for who he was when he was in the White House. And so now it's tit for tat time.
You can say everybody does it. Everybody does it. I don't see Jimmy Carter out there doing this. So,
not like that. Certainly not at this rate. I mean, look at. I mean, this is somebody. One of the things
like,
that
this
Obama
is a priority.
Did, yeah, it was a priority to make sure that the bankers got off.
And no, this is a priority. In his first 100 days out, yeah, Obama wanted to make sure he got his money. He's going to get that money. And if you don't think Obama was thinking about this when he was negotiating Obamacare, that he had this payday in mind, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know. Like, this was a pharmaceutical and equity like meeting that paid him $500,000 like 3 months after being president.
Yeah, I mean, and
this is why we don't have single payer.
Yeah, this is why we don't have single payer. This is what you have, and you got listen. You got Obama said if you go to clip number 10, Obama said the bailouts were necessary. He said, I hated them, but they were necessary. I hated the bailouts, but they were just necessary. And he said that no crimes were committed, right? So nobody had to go to jail. But if you read, I wish I had thought about it before I came on here. There's a great article by Matt Taibbi at the Rolling Stone, which basically shows that that's just not true. There were a number of crimes committed. And Obama just let them skate.
And there's a number of ways you could have structured the bailout to keep black families in their homes.
There's a number of ways you could have structured the bailout to keep black people in their homes, to get loans for black people, to get small business loans. There were a number of ways you could have, when you audited the banks, you could have audited the banks and said, listen, we're auditing you and making sure that you're giving loans to African Americans. That's what we're doing. He had all of the power and did nothing with it to benefit us. And so now you have an arrangement where Wall Street still has the power and Main Street still has nothing. That is the current setup that we have right now. And that is because of Obama. And that's why Obama is getting payback. That's why he's getting what he's getting. All these mergers too. You can't let anybody fail. Now Main Street, black people, we can fail all the time. But you won't let them fail. They can't fail. Like banks can't fail. You rescue them all the time. Give them a payday. Give them a bailout. If you had sent one of them to jail, you wouldn't have had this problem. Because they would have said, oh, no, I don't want to go to jail. I would have perp walked a lot of people. You would have just been walking to jail. Handcuffs. I don't want you. You're not going to show up at the courthouse with an attorney. And no. I'm going to come drag you out your house. Because that's what you do to us. You just come drag us out of our house in the middle of the night, daytime. You don't care. You drag us. I'm going to call the media and I'm going to come drag you out your house. Like, that's how I would have dealt with the bankers and the whole derivatives bubbles and all that crap they set up. The subprime, A-rated, AAA rated, the AAA rated mortgages that they packaged into derivatives. And they knew that was garbage and pawned it off to pension funds. All of that stuff was not only just wrong, it was criminal. But since Obama let him get away, this is what we have to deal with. And people need to stop telling me, Yvette, stop talking about Obama. No, he's still here. He's still active in our politics. I can't, how can I miss him if he won't go away? If he will go away, it'll be different. You see what he just got active in terms of the French president and all that stuff. He's still very much active. Obama's issued at least 2 or 3 statements since he's been allegedly gone. Allegedly. In the last 100 days. Don't nobody need to keep hearing no statement from you. Go away. So, if you look, he slammed Wall Street. If you go to clip 11, he slammed them as fat cats. He said, these are fat cats. And he talked bad about Wall Street when he was there. This should let you know he was just lying. He never really felt bad that it was just a story he was telling. That's all it was. It wasn't anything like what you think it was. Well, Obama said, but his hands are tied. Hands weren't tied. There was no tired.
No, he just knew what the payday was if he played his role.
Yeah. You hit the moderators up, Iron?
No.
Yeah, hit them. Somebody just said they want to be. Yeah, so it is what it is. Like it is what it is. Like we're here. And this is Obama. Nobody went to jail. He's making bank. He's vacationing with people. Like what I say the last time we talked, you gotta let people stop using us as the doormat to get to where they want to get. So Obama wanted some of that Wall Street money. So he used Black America as the doormat to get to where he wanted to get to. So he was outside. We were the doormat to get him into the house. That's how it worked out. And that was always his plan. That's why he married Michelle. I'm sorry for y'all who think this was just some kind of black love novel. It wasn't. She validated him, just like Jeremiah Wright validated him. And now he's getting his payday. Michelle's getting her payday too, because that's part of why she validated him. We all gonna get paid. You gotta understand that these people are your class enemies. These people are, what did we talk last week or Monday about gatekeepers in the black community? These are gatekeepers. These are gatekeepers. These are the people who come up like, well, I don't think that's fair and blah, 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 blah. And we say, oh, Michelle, she got a nice black family. What did I say about Jesse Williams turning to seeing stuff through the prism of who Michelle Obama is? So what if somebody comes along who has great politics, but they don't have a Michelle Obama? Are you just going to say, no, I can't do that? I had somebody tell me during the first term and this is God's honest truth. They told me, this was a black woman who told me, well, I'm okay with Barack Obama as long as he keeps loving his black wife. She told me that.
Black home ownership rate didn't matter. Black job rate didn't matter. Crime rate didn't matter.
Nope. Nothing.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with that?
Nothing. You're gonna die. That's what you're gonna. What else you gonna do with it?
My baby's drinking lead. That's all right, cause
Obama drank that water. He said it was all right. I think.
yeah.
I think he tested it.
You know what I didn't see? What? I didn't see Malia or Sasha drinking that water.
No.
Michelle was gonna.
Don't put. Yeah, Michelle gonna have her. Michelle ain't gonna have her baby. No. You better. She didn't have her babies up there. We have hell to pay if he tried to do that. Oh, Michelle don't play. I don't think Michelle play. I would never be scared of Obama. Michelle, how tall is she? She's 6 feet.
Yeah, 5'11", 5'10".
Oh, okay, I'm 5'10". We'll be all right. Anyway, on to our next story. We got to hit him quick today. Hit him quick. This is the big story of the night. Why somebody talking about Nate Parker? I see the connection. Yeah. Y'all talking about him and Jesse. Oh, it's a lot. I'm going to have trouble. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chat.
Connect the dots for the people.
Huh?
Connect the dots for Nate Parker and the people.
Nate Parker was the same thing, right? Everybody was fine with Nate Parker in terms of, he did the oh God, I'm drawing a blank. What's the name of the movie? I saw it.
Nat Turner.
Yeah, Nat Turner movie.
Birth of a Slave.
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation, yeah.
And everybody was fine with Parker until somebody, I don't even know why nobody was looking into his life, but somebody showed the picture of him with his white wife and everything turned very ugly very fast. So turned very ugly very fast. So he was another one, and then the rape allegations came out and all sorts of stuff happens, but I'm not gonna issue no kind of nothing about that, but I'm just saying that this is how we view people through that lens. I think we have to have a more sophisticated way of addressing people and viewing people and determining what their politics are.
So a non-political statement. Patrick Gwynn is right in the chats. Michelle do wear nice dresses though. That's true.
I don't know if she wear nice dresses. I don't look at her enough to know.
I think that's true. She wears nice dresses though. Not gonna get the lead out of our water. No. Still a failure as a black family in the.
You got black media that still can't let it go.
Yeah.
You got black media that still can't let it go. How you still can't let it go? Like they still posting articles about him. He gone. If you can't find nothing else to write about, just go out of business. Like write about him in terms of what he's saying now, but like, oh, we miss you. Miss him for what?
No.
He was detrimental. It wasn't even the fact that he didn't do anything for us. The stuff that he did do was detrimental to our well-being. Like, how do you say that? How does that work?
Well, for example, he greenlit Uber because one of his boys, who is all
David Bluff.
Yes.
Bluff.
They'll segue to the
Bluff
next.
Was on the board at Uber. A company that deconstructed decades and decades and decades of labor law. That's who his boy was. Everybody was out to make money. These people aren't hustlers. They're thieves. It's all about what can I get from. I'm in government because I want to get something from it. They're not in it to do good government. So when we talk about government and the need for government, I want to move on to talk about a story of a very, very, very sad. Somebody, I want to thank whoever one of my Breaking Brown family sent me this story, and I want to thank you for sending me this story. It is a very, very sad story about a father, a husband who was working for Uber as an engineer and committed suicide. And his wife said that he was stressed at the job, that he was experiencing harassment on a lot of levels, from racial harassment to, he said his boss just didn't like him, and he kind of was having a hard time dealing. And people, according to the story, people actually encouraged him to quit the job or whatever, and he just kept kind of trying to plow through until his wife found him in the car. She tried to, she sat in the car with him to talk to him, and she realized he shot himself. And I think in terms of what we talk about here in this story, I think there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot that we have to unpack in this story. This is a terrible story, and I think my heart breaks for this family, because here was a guy who he did everything right. He did everything you tell black millennials to do, right? Like you or Gen Xers too, right? If I work hard, or if I do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to be okay. Like, that's what he did. He did all that stuff, and put the next clip up, Army, of him. He did all that stuff, and it didn't work out. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to frame this in terms of, and tell you why it didn't work out.
Oh, that was a good looking guy too.
And why it was never going to work out. And why it's so hard for black strivers to work this out. I want to talk about the black strivers and what it means to be a black striver. We had somebody that was a great caller on Monday's show who talked about defining success and redefining success, right? And what success should look like for you, as opposed to you emulating success in a way that doesn't make sense for your life. And when I think about this guy, and I think one of the most important things to note, this wasn't after a lot of years. Uber broke him in like 6 months. Less than 6 months. It was like 4 or 5. They broke him in record speed. And they said he had a job. His wife said he had a job offer at Apple as well. He chose Uber because it was an up-and-coming company. So he chose Uber. Uber's a good company. It's an up-and-coming company. It has room to grow. That's the company I want to be a part of. That's what he said to himself. And what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you some difficult truths about how he made the wrong decision. And I'm not trying to demean this man or his family or his loss in any way. But I'm trying to use this as a teachable experience for us. I'm trying to use this as a learning experience for us, because we need to understand what success looks like in terms of how we define it, as opposed to how it's defined for us, right? We've grown up with people telling us going to work for a company like this is an opportunity. And really, in that context, what opportunity means is that I'm better than where I am. I'm better than this job. But what I'm telling you is that often what happens when we do that and we feel like we can do anything, we end up at these cultures that aren't good for us. And the only thing you have to do first is think about what Uber really is. Let's think about it. We talked about how Uber put forth a team of lobbyists to make sure that they didn't have to be a real company. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? They didn't have to be a real company. They can just say everybody's a subcontractor. So you don't get health care. You don't get workman's comp. You don't have legal rights to say, hey, I don't know why I was fired. I just got signed off. You don't have. That's what Uber did. Uber took away your rights as an employee and said you're a subcontractor, regardless. And this all happened under Obama, but they did this. This is what Uber did. This is what Uber does.
But it's not an accident that it all happened under Obama.
No.
It's not some casual thing. There's a lot of laws that needed to be rewritten and a lot of prosecutors who needed to go soft for Uber to happen. And it's not an accident that David Plouffe, Obama's campaign guy, ends up as a VP at Uber.
But here's the thing. In terms of how we define success, in terms of the culture, I want to talk to you all about cultures. Why do you want to be at a company that does that? So you're telling me that you want to work at a company that devalues human beings and takes away their rights because somebody told you as a black striver that's what you need to do because it's an up-and-coming company. Oh, Uber's brand new. Uber's growing. There might be a space for you there. But you're at a company. You're at a company that does awful things to people, right? You're at a company. Did you all see the argument that the Uber CEO had with a driver and said, well, some people make their own choice and you. No, it's not about choices. You all hired a bunch of lobbyists to go in and make sure that people don't have rights anymore. They don't have labor rights anymore. It's not about choice. There is no choice. You made a choice with all the money and resources that you had that was detrimental to the people who drive for Uber. That's what you did. And as an engineer, this black deceased man, and may he rest in peace, I mean no harm to him, because he was told this. It wasn't anything that he did. That's something that we've been indoctrinated to believe. Well, we just got to keep trying to climb that ladder. And we don't understand quality of life. You'd be better off as an engineer at a smaller company that gives you a better quality of life. where people don't just want you to work 80 hours a week, and people don't act like, you know what? Guess what? If you can't do it, I will find an Indian who will. I'll get an H-1B visa here to take your place. And they pit people against each other. You'd be better off without that. Listen, there was a New York Times article, which will be, if you get the newsletter, all this stuff will be in the newsletter. It said interviews with more than 30 Uber employees, as well as reviews of internal emails, chat logs, tape recorded meetings. Showed a confrontation in a meeting, people using homophobic slurs, and a manager at one point threatened to beat an underperforming employee in the head with a bat. Do you want to be somewhere? You have to ask yourself, do you want to be somewhere where somebody is threatening, where a supervisor is threatening to beat you in the head with a bat? This is a New York Times story I'm reading. This is not something I just made up. You have to ask yourself whether or not that's good for your quality of life and your mental health. People keep telling us that that's what we want. Based on what? Who told you to want that? All this emulating that you're doing, all this emulation of wealth, all this, Yvette, it'll be great. You want to go and tell people and pass your business card around, I work for Uber, or I work for this new startup. But you don't understand the culture. Who wants to be around this white frat boy culture? Do you want to do that you're going to be there about 14, 16 hours a day. Do you want to do that? Is that how you want to spend your time? Is that how you want to spend your life? You have to ask these questions as opposed to going with what people are telling you about how you are supposed to live, what you are supposed to do, what you are supposed to value. In order to, Uber's hitchhiking. Don't let them ride sharing that's hitchhiking. In order to believe this, you have to have invested in yourself and view yourself as like this Uber person. View yourself through your employment. View yourself through your business card. And I'm telling you that that's a problem. I think you have to redefine what success means for you. And the value of working at a company, that's actually a decent company. And when we talk about, let me just say one other thing. When we talk about gatekeepers, there's one other thing to remember. Remember when Uber got in all this trouble, they brought in Eric Holder to kind of eventually co-sign and say, every company says the same thing when they get caught. Well, we're gonna do better. We've sort of failed, and we're gonna do better at some point. We're gonna move it forward. No, like he's a gatekeeper. Like that's what he is. Anytime you see somebody bring in Eric Holder, and somebody said this on my page, there's a cover-up going on. and
he's a lobbyist now.
Yeah, and there was a great study that's up on the screen now. New study, striving for wealth is killing Black America. Whites are immune to the effects. Ain't that something? Because you know why they're immune to the effects? When you see an article talking about Black drivers have health problems and white drivers don't. Because white drivers get something out of it in the end. That's not always true for us. So this man who was, in terms of racism and Uber, that New York Times article that I pointed to talked about racism and sexism and verbally abusive, all of that stuff. Do you want to work there? Stop telling me it's your dream to work at this startup, or it's your dream to work here, or it's your dream to work there, and brag about it and say it's hustling. I don't want to hear you talk about, well, I work 18-hour days, and I slept on the sofa, and I slept under the desk, and that's nothing to be proud of. You live in a first world country. You're supposed to have a first world life. You're not supposed to be sleeping under nobody's desk. You're not supposed to be bragging about how little sleep you get. That's detrimental to your body.
Nothing wrong with working.
And your life.
Nothing wrong with working 8 hours and coming home and playing with your kids.
Nothing wrong with working 5.
And playing with your kids.
Nothing wrong with working 5. Forget 8. 8's too long.
8's too long, yeah.
I mean, in a lot of European countries, they have what they call a siesta. I told y'all about. They drink the tea. They drink the tea, and then they have lunch. You have tea time and lunch time. And then you don't stay to 6, 7, 8 o'clock. You leave at 4 or 5. Probably 4. People wonder what you're doing there. But we have, the whole propaganda of America has talked us into this version of rugged individualism. Well, I can do it. No, you can't. And as someone pointed out earlier, somebody said, well, nobody's ever died of hard work. You a lie. People die of hard work all the time. Graves are full of people who die from hard work and harassment. You think about it. This man was so invested. He got broke down so bad that he couldn't move forward. You think about what that means. And you think about defining yourself. Think about the fact, I'm going to slow down and say this. He was defining himself through something that he didn't control. This is not your company. You don't own shares here. You're defining yourself through a job that you don't control. I'll even go back to our conversation last week about Charlemagne the God. He's defining himself through a radio show that he doesn't own. How are you defining yourself through something that is not even yours? I don't want you to define yourself through anything materialistic, but how are you defining yourself through something that does not belong to you? It is not, you are not in ownership of that thing, but you're defining yourself, and you're as a man. You're defining yourself, or as a woman. You're defining yourself through this company. And so you feel bad about yourself because of how they treat you and how they, and let me tell y'all, these people are wicked. Like, if you've ever worked in in that New York Times article I quoted, they talk about how they pitted people against each other. I mean, it's like a cage fight. And you're telling me that this is your dream. How can this be your dream? It doesn't make any sense. Oh no. Talk about this being your dream, to work here and be a part of this organization. Why would you even show up for the interview? Like, I don't know what happens after this life, but as far as I know, you only got one. Don't spend it doing something like that. Like, if you have a choice, and there's the saddest point. That's one of the saddest parts of the whole thing. But another way that I kind of want to bring this home for people is, did y'all see this story? There was a great story today about ESPN firing over like 1,000, what was it, like 100 or so, firing like a bunch of OnStar personalities. A huge number of people at ESPN are gone. It's over for them. Like, on-air personalities. These are people behind the scenes. These are your regular people. Now, I want to point out to some of you. I see this guy right here. His name is Darren Haynes, and he's talking about being let go from, like, SportsCenter. And he's saying, I never thought I could work here, and people told me I couldn't work here, and I'm here, and oh my God, but I'm getting laid off, and I thank you for the time and all this stuff. This man had defined his life through SportsCenter in terms of what he wanted to be, in terms of who he wanted to be, and how he wanted to see himself. You see him hopping around and jumping and doing all that stuff. And let me just say something. None of that hopping around and jumping saved him when it was time to get cut.
No, but he's telling people right now, I'm open for business. I'm a happy Negro. You can hire me and fire me.
But guess what?
I'm not going to cause trouble. That's what he's telling people. Yes.
He's a part of a dying industry. This sports stuff, all these concussions there. I don't even know how long that's going to last. This guy could end up being your Uber driver. And the sad part about it is, he's the same. The person who just got fired is the same person who told a bunch of other people, you can realize your dreams. I realized my dream, and I'm here, and I made it. You ain't made it. You just got laid off. But since you was a little kid, you was seeing yourself through this. You was seeing yourself like as this person. That's how you saw yourself, as this ESPN person. And now y'all got people out here talking about, you tell your kid he's going to be a sports journalist. Understanding that, here's what you got to understand. You don't get to define what you're going to be in this country unless you have wealth. You don't get to tell people I'm going to be X, Y, and Z unless you have wealth to back it up. You can't be poor in America and tell people I'm going to be an architect. That's not how wealth moves. That's not how wealth works. And he can't even say, I want to keep my job. There's only a few places that you can go now. There ain't a whole lot of sports networks. So you're going to do that on like a local TV station? They don't pay like ESPN. And we all know, bro, now you got bills. Because you got bills now. You got a big house and a fancy car.
He bought a house.
He bought a house. He bought a Mercedes. He bought fancy stuff because you're depending on something that does not belong to you. This doesn't belong to you. None of this stuff belongs to you. You're just hired for a little while. And you've invested all of yourself into being this guy. And you're probably the same kind of person who shows up at schools and everything, talking about what you can be, not understanding that even your time is limited. Hit that next clip, Iron. This is C.L. Brown. This brother right here talking about he landed in Madrid.
I didn't
found
know.
out that he ain't had no job. He landed in Madrid and found out he had no job. He said, I was asked if my job was secure, and I landed, if my job was safe, and found out it was not. Enjoyed my 4 years at ESPN. But now what? Now what? What happens after that? Why do you even why you want that? And why do you feel like that's somehow secure for you? And let me tell you something. Everybody keeps asking me, "Well, Yvette, we can do for self. Why do we need government?" Government makes them keep you in the game. Yes. That's all you have. That's your only opportunity. Is government basically saying, you can't do this. You can't do this, African Americans. They have to have employment, because if not, when it comes time to cut, we're the ones who get cut first. Right. So you need government to keep us in there.
You can have the FCC say, we're going to take away your license, ESPN, if you don't hire some Negroes.
Yeah, I mean, think about.
How do you think Oprah got on? Like,
FEC.
People just don't know. Yeah,
she got on with the FEC. And here's the thing. I just want to break this down as easy as I can. And I just want to break this down. These people, these black people that you see that lost their jobs, they got to the top of their game and found out did nobody need them no more. Imagine that. Imagine getting to the top of your game and finding out nobody needs you anymore. Right? That's what happened to them. You get to the top of your game, you ain't did nothing wrong, and you find out nobody needs you anymore. That's what they dealt with. And the only people who can say, hey, you can't do that, the only people who can say you can't do that is government. Nobody else can do it. Why wouldn't they fire you first? That's nothing making them keep you in the game. It doesn't happen that way. That's not how life works. So you've done everything right, did your sports journalism, smiled on every episode, and now you finished. You didn't do nothing wrong, but you're still on the unemployment line. But you're on the unemployment line and you got a Mercedes and you got a house because you were invested in the fact that you were ESPN anchor.
Well, when you say you got a Mercedes and you got a house, I think that might be a little bit confusing. The banks got the house.
Yeah. And
the Mercedes dealer still owes a lot of that Mercedes.
Yep. So. Government forces people to make a space for us. And it's awful to say this. It's awful to say this. You going to put the number up, Iron? Yeah. It's awful.
I want to wait because it comes up.
We're finna go in a minute.
Okay.
It's awful to say this, but if government doesn't make a space for us, nobody makes a space for us. Because we don't have leverage, we don't have social capital, we don't have relationships, we don't. And people say, "What much we don't have?" Well, tell me how many multimillionaires you know, or what uncle you know that at least got $1.5 million. Like, just let me know. I just want to know. Like, we don't, it's not just money. It's also about social capital. You can move into a town where people don't have money, but they still have social capital. I've been in this community for 200 years or whatever. My people here for 100 years, and my uncle's the sheriff. And I got an auntie on the city commissioner. And you know everybody. That's social capital. We don't even have that social capital. So that's part of the reason why we're the first to go. And there's nothing that you can do about that. There's nothing that you can do about that. And nobody wants to say it, but I say it all the time. Yeah, you come from a slave. I come from a slave. That's what we do. So how do you expect to do anything about that? There's nothing that we can do to protect those people who just got fired. Nothing. But government can say, hey, are you firing an inordinate number of black people in your layoffs? Like, are you laying off? Like, how many? Let me see the data. Government makes them make a space for us. But you can't be invested. You can't be invested in being this ESPN guy. You can't be invested in it. You can't be invested in being him. There's no other way for me to say it to you. There's no other way for me to tell you that you can't be invested in a job that you don't own. You just had a job. I said the same thing with Melissa Harris Perry. She was like, I can't believe it. I don't know. What do you mean? You were just here because Obama was here. That's it. It's over after that. What do you mean? What are you talking about when you have expectations? You're the Negro whisperer. And that's fine. Take your money and when they say it's up because you're working for somebody else. But government is supposed to ensure that you're kept around and you're treated fairly. So there's a space for us. You got tech companies. When you look at tech, when you look at like places like Uber, it's like 99% white or 99% people other than African Americans, because they got some Indians, other people, but other than African Americans, government is supposed to ensure that people make a space for us, and that's why you put pressure on your government. So. I mean, what can we do?
No, we're doing black political education right now. That's what we can do. Take some calls?
Yeah, sure.
Hello?
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 Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm fellow Bison. Enjoying your show. I'm watching how you guys evolve. I will give some critique, but I'll hold off on that. What I wanted to say is I'm liking how your show is evolving. I like what some of the comments that you're saying. I would like for you to, how often will you compare or say some of the things, including with Dr. Claude Anderson and his powernomics and what you're feeling on that? Because I kind of see where you're evolving and talking to within your show, but I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna get off the phone after that.
Okay. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And people, in terms of Claude Anderson and power numbers, here's my thing. I think Claude Anderson gets some things right. I think he gets some things wrong.
Good.
He's not all right and he's not all wrong. He's right in terms of diagnosing the problem. That's where he's right. In terms of, we don't really have community. We don't really have what we need in order to sustain ourselves. I think he's wrong in terms of saying that we can make that happen with no help from the government or anyone else. Because when you look at the middle black family has $1,700, compare that to $100,000 in the middle white family. I don't think we have the money to create that power base that he thinks that we can create in terms of, because you have to buy off politicians, but you can't just buy off one politician. You have to buy off politicians in your local government, in your house, in your Senate. You have to buy off Congress. All of this requires money. And so it requires money, and you look at the middle black family has $1,700. So that's one aspect where I think he's wrong. I also think he's wrong when he compares us to Asians. Because first of all, there is no quote unquote Asian. There's, people from the Philippines, there's people from China who mostly have college degrees when they come here. So they come here, you look at 20% of Americans, not just African Americans, but Americans have college degrees, right? And they're at a level of 40 some odd percent. They come here with college. They come here with an advantage anyway, but those are just the Chinese immigrants. So, but all Asian immigrants are different. So first of all, even saying just Asian just kind of whitewashes the whole thing in a way that just makes it ridiculous for me. And even they have, people always say, well, the Asians do better. No, when you look at it, actually, they have a lower per capita income than white people. So it's not that they're all doing well. That's just not true. That's mythologizing who they are. Because we see some of them, like the Chinese and sometimes even the Koreans, doing well. That's not Asians in general, right? So I think that's where I find it problematic. I don't think we have the capital to do what he says we need to do. He's right in diagnosing the problem. He's right about a lot of stuff. But I don't think he's right in terms of the solution. I don't think we can do it ourselves. I'd love to have a conversation with him, but I just don't think we have the capital to make that happen. We're not upwardly mobile. You see even black people fall back into poverty. We don't have it.
It's stronger. It's not only we're not upwardly mobile, we're downwardly mobile.
Yeah, we're downwardly mobile.
We're down 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 black people born in the middle class.
Say it again.
7 out of 10 black people born in the middle class are falling into poverty.
7 out of 10 of black people born in the middle class are falling into poverty.
Downwardly
Think about
mobile. You're not doing as well as your baby boomer parents.
Yeah, because the baby boomer parents came of age during a specific period. Well, affirmative action was at its hardest, right? They came of age during that period. And so there was a window, we don't understand timing. Windows open, windows close. Windows open, windows close. Everything's not the same. Everything's not static. So sometimes I think that boomers like him look at life like they experienced it. But what was possible in 1975 isn't possible in 2017 with this historic income inequality that we see. It's not possible now. It might have been possible in 1975, 1980, because even in that period, we saw affirmative action just buttressing a group of people to the middle class. And I talk a lot about my parents who were factory workers, but they had a job. They had steady, secure incomes for a number of years, which made it possible for me to go to school, go to college, or whatever. You don't see that kind of security anymore. So for me, I just find it problematic, I find it problematic to say that. I find it problematic to believe that we have the money to kind of build this replica of whiteness.
Yeah, if anyone has a question about that numbers, just Google Bleak, Black, and Brookings Institute. It'll show up.
Yeah.
Bleak,
Brookings had a great study about it.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. Black people born in the middle class are going to fall into poverty.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, one of the things that we have to do is understand timing better. Like, when you bring up that we have to understand timing better, I brought up Outliers in this conversation before, but if you haven't read Outliers, please read Outliers, because it shows you that, like, a lot of the big mega capitalists were born in the same era, in the same period, and that's because the timing allowed them to have something during that period. There was a window that opened, but that window also closes. Those windows don't just stay open for you to catch up. That's not how it works. They build capital, and now America's in decline, and places like India are on the upswing. So you're not even in a period anymore where America's building empires. America's not building empires anymore. America's got everything they need for the most part. You're in it. That's why. Why do you think the Clintons are in emerging markets right now? Why? They're in emerging markets right now because that's where the money is. That's where people need stuff, and they can make money and put capitalists in there. That's not what we are. During that time when people were making fortunes, we were slaves. What are you gonna do about that? You're gonna go unless you can time travel. I don't know what you're gonna do about that. So, yep.
Hello.
Hey. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
Yvette.
Yes.
Yvette.
Yes. That's my name.
Yvette, this is Anita Campbell.
Hey.
Yvette is Anita Campbell. You know the Looney Tunes?
You the
We
lunatic?
were
What?
supposed to have a private conversation with.
I was?
We've got an emergency situation right now.
Okay.
What happened?
I don't know. I didn't do anything.
I just let you always check with you, Harvey. I don't know. She said emergency. I don't know what happened.
We had an emergency.
She called herself a Looney Tune. I don't know what that was.
They got to her is what they got to her.
Who? Somebody said, but all right, next call. I don't know who got to her.
Uh-oh.
This is Illuminati. Hello. What? Oh, my knee hurt. Who we got, Army?
I don't know. They're on. Hello?
Hello? What's going on with the phones tonight?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Oh, my God. Yes.
Hi, my name is Katrina from Milwaukee.
Hey, how you doing? Army didn't cut her. See? Go on. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Katrina from Milwaukee, and I have two questions and one comment. I know I really appreciate listening to Breaking Brown with you and Army, and you are absolutely correct from the fact that we don't have any wealth. And I just want to know, what's the sophisticated way you think African American people can communicate with Donald Trump to see if perhaps we can get reparations?
Okay.
And then my other comment regarding the Uber driver, just a suggestion maybe if we can reach out to the mom and do a GoFundMe to help her, because I really feel bad about her. And that's all I have to say.
I think the Uber mom did get a GoFundMe. I think she did. I remember hearing somewhere that she did get a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I cut it off.
Yeah, I heard that she did the Uber mom. I heard that she was talking about. We were talking about the Uber mom who was trying to work 2 jobs with Uber and ended up in debt. I think she did get a GoFundMe. In terms of our politics, let me just say one thing: Citizens United has basically made this country a billionaire class, where the billionaires rule everything and rule our politics, and it's basically outpriced us out of politics, and we're being outpriced out of Black life. So just in terms of where we are in our politics. So, I mean, my whole thing about Donald Trump, that's why
play to his ego. We gotta play to his ego.
We gotta play to his ego too. But just like I talk about windows, it's possible that we missed that window. Like that's why I talked about it during the first days, because that's when he don't know, he don't understand what's going. That's when he's trying to figure stuff out, and that's why I talked about it then. People were like, why are you hitting so hard on Trump? I talked about it then for a reason.
So when all that not my president stuff was going on.
Yeah, that's when we should have been working on something. That's when we should have been really trying to make the move, because timing is everything. Timing don't last forever. You don't have the same opportunities all the time. You got to bite while the iron is hot. That don't mean we should give up. I'm not saying that. I'll still push for everything that we have, regardless of who's in the White House. But I don't know whether or not that window is closed. But you know.
So Mrs. Donnell says it's because Elijah Cummings says we're fine. That's not helping our cause.
His daughter drives for Lyft though. So how fine are even you? Your daughter drives Lyft, man. She drives around hitchhikers. How good are you if your daughter drives hitchhikers? I want somebody to tell me all the white Congress people whose daughter drives hitchhikers. I just want to know how many white Congress people have daughters who drive around hitchhikers all day and try to leverage their dad's congressional plate so they don't get tickets. Like, that's her advantage. Her advantage of having a dad who's a congressman isn't the fact that he's a congressman and he has relationships. Her advantage is that he has congressional plates so she don't get tickets. What kind of power is that? He's useless. But much of the CBC is useless.
So, I feel like we got to give people more than that about what they can do.
Go ahead then, Ivy.
We
talk your shit.
Well, we got to get our local politics right. Be prepared so that when the next window comes up, first of all, one of the 1,000 people who is watching right now has to know Omarosa. Get Yvette in the room with Omarosa.
Can she do it though?
Can't you do it? I don't know, but I still want you in that room.
I want to be in a room with Trump.
You want to be? Want to go past? Do you know? Nope.
I ain't got no problem being in a room with Omarosa, but I want him to be in a room too.
All right. So what we need the local politics so that the next time it opens up, we can hit that hole. Because the hole, it's like football. The hole only opens up for like a half second, and you got to hit that hole. And we weren't ready with Trump. I don't know when the next time it's going to open up.
Let me just say something. Somebody just posted, y'all mad at Obama for playing the game. Listen, if the game that somebody plays is detrimental to you, you should be mad. What's wrong with you? Are you like a slow person? Like, if Obama plays a game that is detrimental to you, your family, and your life, you should be mad. You can't just be like, well, that's the game. That's not how anybody else plays the game, idiot. That's not how anybody else plays the game. Everybody else plays the game in terms of what's good for me. I want to get somebody good for me. You can't play like, well, that's just the game. That's some stupid stuff, something you heard. Where you hear that stuff on the wire or something? That's some old stupid hood junk. Well, that's just the game. It's what it is. No. You play the game to win. If you're not winning, you shouldn't like the game. Good grief. This is just pedestrian elementary stuff. Your self-interest should come first. The interest of African Americans should be first in your mind. If it's not, it don't matter what the game is. I want to change the game and overthrow the game and pick up the board and throw the board out the window if the game don't work for me.
So in order to get our politics right, we have to get our media right. That's why platforms like Breaking Brown are very important. So what you can do, if you actually want a black politics that matters people, tell your friends about this show so when it opens up, we can mobilize and move immediately. I think that's the move. Getting our black media that can talk about black politics so that when the hole opens, we'll actually have power. So tell your friends about Yvette.
And have people have conversations. Like, you have to get your friend. I know it's hard. Like, God, it's been hard even with people in my family. Like, have your people have these conversations, because it's not, it doesn't work if, like, me and you are smart and everybody else is like, well, I don't know. I thought Obama was great. It don't work that way. Like, everybody's got to know stuff. So.
Hello, good evening.
Hey.
Hi, how are you? This is Sheba calling from Miami, Florida.
Hey.
I just want to say that I love your show and I love the way you think, and I just appreciate everything that you have done, and I have learned so much. And I am so starstruck by you and Army, and I just appreciate all of the things that you guys are doing through Breaking Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tell your friends.
What I want to say about this Jesse person is that black women are so desperately want to be loved to the point where anybody could come along and say anything in our favor, and we immediately jump on their side without trying to figure out where they are politically, or are they even legitimate in their sayings. And we jump right on it. And oftentimes these black men who supposedly are so in love with black women, actually they're not. And they come amongst us and they basically exploit black women because they say all these things on Facebook, oh, black queen, this, that, and the other. Then they selling T-shirts. Then they selling self-help books and tapes and stuff like that. And then we buy into it. And then the following week, they're like, oh, by the way, we hate black women, you know? And it's just, you know, and you talked about the black woman talking about Barack Obama and his black wife, and that speaks to the point where we're so emotionally desperate for people to love us sometimes to the point where we don't even care what their political platform is. So my question is, because of these, not all of us, but, you know, some of us are so infantile and are thinking to the point where I don't know if we even understand how much trouble we're in as a people. And I just would like for you to speak to that. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you. You know, I'm going to get to your trouble as a people in a second. But I did see a YouTube personality. I'm not going to even say who it is. I saw a YouTube person. It wasn't even African American. It was somebody other than African American who was just talking about black men. And it was just very curious to me that black women would follow somebody who's just dogging black men all the time, and he ain't even black. That was interesting. So I do believe that you have to get into a space where you're just like, I'm not just gonna follow somebody who's just kind of taking advantage of me and tell me what I want to hear. In terms of getting people to understand like what's happening, like what the caller said, I think you have to understand like this is part of being grown. Like we don't want to be grown no more. I mean, I know it hurts to hear that, but we want to be kids. That's why you hear all the stuff you hear. Like, we want to be kids. Like, part of being grown is understanding politics. Part of being grown is knowing what happened in the news today and yesterday and last week and last month and last year. That's all part of being grown. You can't walk around in this life and not know what's happening. You can't walk around in this life and not know what's going on. And I thank God for my tribe. Because my tribe always sends me stuff in the email and everything. If I miss something, they let me know. Hey, Yvette, you missed this. Hit this next time. That's what you have to do. That's part of being an adult.
Tell the people how to get
If you want to reach me, you can go to editor@breakingbrown.com. Editor@breakingbrown.com. Even if I don't respond to everything, I see everything. And I get some great stuff from a lot of great people. But the people who contact me and the people who follow me are grown. Like, that's what grown-ups do. Grown-ups know what's going on. You can't, I mean, what are you going to do if you're not? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, if you're a guy, you watching football. You know all the stats on football, but you don't know nothing about nothing else in politics. Oh, if you're a woman, you went to the Beyonce concert, but you don't know nothing else about anything but the Beehive. All of y'all are just, you're not grown. Like, so that's why I say, like, with the exception of me and my people, like, a lot of us are surrounded by kids. But we got to start telling them, like, when they start coming to us, be like, well, I don't know. Well, you a kid. You wouldn't know. And
Hello?
hey.
Hello? Hey, this is Gloria. I'm calling from Southeast Georgia. I love you guys. I'm a huge fan. Listen all the time.
Just wanted to know if you all could comment on what's going on at Western Kentucky University with the Student Government Association. They called for reparations in the form of free tuition for all Black Americans impacted by slavery and Jim Crow. And I would just love to know your thoughts, and also Irene's thoughts on, just your general thoughts. That would be great.
Here's the thing. Well, first of all, I had a problem. I'm finna get on my soapbox for only 10 seconds. I had a problem because the person I saw speaking about the reparations came from a family of immigrants. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I don't need you to speak for me. I don't need you to speak for the descendants of slaves when your descendants don't come from slaves and you're authority. Because she was on Fox News and she was real slick. When they asked her who should get it, she tried to back up into maybe immigrants can get it too because they experienced racial discrimination. No, boo-boo. We're talking about Jim Crow and slavery. You can't just slide back into that. So I saw her on Fox News, but she was real slick to me. She only did that. She only got away from it because she knew Tucker Carlson was about to cut her up and slice her up in little pieces and serve her up as hibachi. So that's the only reason she backed away from that. But what I'll say is, I think, honestly, for me, I think tuition at HBCU should be free.
Yes.
But what I'm saying to you, the other problem that I have is, what is the good of education if it's not getting us anywhere? Education is fine, but you can't leave it there because education for us right now isn't leading to a whole lot of opportunity, right? So my problem is it has to be bigger than that. I think there's a step in the right direction, but it has to be bigger than education. And I don't care whether you put some money for me in a trust fund or whatever you got to do. It has to be bigger than that because let me tell you, these people are so slick. They'll say education is free. Fine, go take it. And then they'll make sure that even once you get your degree, you don't get a good job. And they'll be like, but we gave you reparations. So you just have to be careful of how slick they is. One thing I know is that a dollar always spends, right? A dollar will always, as long as this country is here, the American dollar spends. So I want money as well as education.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Look, my dad's from Ghana and my mom's from South Carolina. If I have to be like number 2, and I think if Yvette would have it her way, my number 2 would be way lower than number 1. I think that's just fine. If you got 2 parents who are descended from slaves, if you can show me 2 sharecropping granddaddies, you get AAA credit. You get all the things. I think that's fine. I don't mind taking a back seat to that. I think that's legit because those are the people who have the special claim. If you got 2 Black descendant of slave parents from both sides, you should get priority over immigrants, including myself.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure there are white people in my line. I don't know them because they never showed up for the family reunion. I don't know. So I don't know. But I'm sure, ain't no Black person 100%. I'm sure I'm not. Okay? But I want to know where that comes from. Does that come from slave master? Does that come from someone in my family marrying somebody who was white? I know both my parents are Black, but does that come from somebody? We got to get a moderator here, Army. But does it come from somebody marrying somebody? I don't know. I don't know. Only thing I know is my parents are Black, but I know there's a lot in that line. So I might not get 100%. But if it's some slave stuff, I want it all because if it was not consensual, I want it all. Okay, I want you to know I want it. But I mean, but there's a way that we can figure this out. It's somebody said you should do a DNA test. They still don't tell me where they come from. I don't know who they are.
It's not even about the DNA test because if you were raped, it doesn't matter what you like.
If you were raped, I don't know what happened. I don't know who.
No, you come from slaves. That's what counts.
Or even coerced. It don't have to be raped coerced. You ain't gonna get out of here. You know what I mean?
That's all it takes.
Yeah. But then I'm sure that was. I'm not saying there wasn't any intermarriage between white poor people in my line. That could have happened too. A lot of stuff could have happened. So I don't have any problem with coming up with something that says, okay, you get this and not this. I don't have any problem with that.
Well, I just think if you come from if both your parents are Black and they've been Black in America for a while, I just think you should just get credit. And not Nigerian immigrants, not Ghanaian immigrants like my dad, not even me. But yeah. All right, let's go. Keep it moving.
Hey, Yvette.
Hey.
Hey, Yvette, May Trigger. It's Jenny from Brooklyn. What's going on?
Not too much.
Turn it up.
Okay. Well, I have to call him because I have to talk about Mr. Obama.
Now, I need people to really stop looking at people's hate as far as color goes, because to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter, because Michael Manley was a white man. He was the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and let me tell you something. He was the best thing that happened to Jamaica. And he was right. We've had a black Prime Minister that was a piece of garbage.
Oh.
I mean, people need to stop. To this day, Obama has left office, and you still have black women talking about hashtag black love, hashtag black, hashtag. Oh, what kind of nonsense is this? You don't know what's going on in their marriage. Since this man has left office, the biggest smile I've seen on his face, and when he's not with his wife. It's when he's out hanging with his boys and he's doing all kind of nonsense.
That's true.
That's the happiest I have seen this man.
That's
you don't know
true.
what goes on in his bedroom. That shouldn't be a relationship goal for you. You don't know what they're doing. So at this point, the way America is set up and the way everybody's just so blinded by symbolism, I don't want to see another black president in my lifetime. And if he's going to be black, I swear to God, Yvette, he has to have a white wife with blonde hair and that's some architect. I swear to God, because that way we will concentrate on their politics. There will be no hashtag relationship goals, swag, all kind of nonsense people talking about. They'll be concentrating on the politics because they'll be so mad that the wife is white. They'll be pinpointing every single thing this man does. I don't want her to be ethnic white. I want you to look at this woman and know she is white. She has to be the blondest of the blonde, bluest of the palest of the skin. Because it's just pure nonsense. I don't understand it. Get over it. Stop looking at people made to decide your politics. Who they lay down in bed with is their business. Everybody's watching President Trump. Oh, his wife is walking. He's not helping her down the stairs. That's how I care what he does with his wife. How are you in the country? That's what I'm concerned about. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. Why are people so focused on people's bedroom mates? Look at the politics and see what the politics is doing for people. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Carl. I agree. She said they had a black president. He was garbage. You too. They said they had a black president. He was garbage, and they had a white president. He was decent.
Yeah, no, it's good. I liked her before when she said, like, look, I'm from Jamaica. I'm used to black politicians who are garbage. You have to look past the skin color.
You can't. It don't work that way.
In a country where everyone's black, you can't just look at skin color.
No.
But
that's why we're not like everybody else. People's like, well, you just like you. No, we grew up in a country where we're just 13%. It's a different experience than growing up in Ghana. It's a different experience than growing up in Jamaica. We don't have the same experience. We don't even have. That was a great article. That talked about how even the genetic makeup of African American. There's no pure African that's an African American. Like, there was a great article about how being brought here as slaves changed our genetic makeup. So you think you pure just because you wearing an African medallion, you got a dashiki? It don't make no difference. You ain't pure. So just understand who you are, accept it, and let's move on. Take that off. We'll take that off right now. You look very 1998 to me.
Let the man have his dashiki.
He looked 1998 to me. He looked Howard 1998. That's what he looks like to me.
Leave my people alone.
Take it off.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Yes, I'm calling about your comment you made about the government.
Yeah.
When you were saying government, let, you know what I'm saying, the government get involved in things, and that's how we, like, a lot of people don't know that one of the Republicans' main talking points is limited government, get the power back to the states. And people don't understand, without government, we're still part of being slaves, or still be a Jim Crow. Because the government had to come in and stop all that, because if it was up to the state, none of that would have never changed.
Yeah.
I just wanted to elaborate on that, what you were saying about government.
I appreciate it. No, he's right. Like anytime you hear a politician say we're gonna give power back to the state, run. Run like your life depends on it. Because that's how we got these block grants and all of this stuff from the Clinton administration. Like, we're just gonna give it back to the states. The states are just gonna gut it. The states want the money back. They don't want to help you. They just want the money.
South Carolina is not run for you.
No, South Carolina's not going to work for you. We're going to be back to the state. You think your Republican governor's going to help you out like that? No, you're just going to be screwed. So anytime somebody says, like, that should be a trigger in your head. When somebody says, we're just going to give the money back to the states. You should hear that little song. There's a song, Iron says, run. Run. That's what you should do. Just run like hell. To somewhat liberal. I don't care where. Someone that's got like a liberal government and Just look for vegan restaurants. Get the hell out of there. So yeah, I agree with him. States' rights, my ass. You remember that? I mean, talk about the Confederacy. That's what they argue. States' rights. No, the government, like the federal government, like the worst thing that happened to black people was like Reconstruction when the government just pulled out. That's what happened to us when the government just said, "Well, we don't want to be bothered anymore. We just act like this ain't going on. we just act like the KKK ain't just running by setting fire to your house." And that's what happened to us, and we just were devastated. Like you want the federal government to be involved because the states don't give no ifs, no. Somebody said rights come from God. Y'all playing with me tonight.
Yeah, no. Can I still get a lawyer though?
Yeah, Jesus paying for my lawyer. Hallelujah. He gonna pay for my lawyer. Hallelujah. Pay for my lawyer. Get away from me. Talk craziness. Hello.
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 Good evening.
Good
Can
evening.
you hear me?
Like vampires. Good evening. Hello.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
evening.
I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, awesome. Hello, Yvette. How y'all doing?
Good.
First, I don't know if you spoke about this, but by any chance, did you talk about the Ferguson mayoral race?
I did
and
not.
how the residents reelected the previous mayor that was there. And I was just trying to understand how the residents can vote for the same politician over again. And I was wondering if the hoopla or the uproar was due to the external, I guess, eyes or protesters that came in to, I guess, not say cause disruption, but to highlight the criminal justice system and the peonage that was going on over there.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. I know that Ferguson elected the new mayor, but I don't know why they did. Is there anybody?
Same mayor.
Who?
They didn't elect the new mayor. They got
They
the same
did?
guy. No, same guy.
Same guy, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
same
was
guy.
somebody run against him, though?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Like, I don't know why they reelected him. That's what I'm saying. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, what was the? If somebody's from there, call me because
Okay.
I don't know what was the background behind it.
20,000 residents, 67% black, 29% white. We assume all of those white people don't have felony records. I want to know how many of those 20,000 residents, 67, how many of those black residents were eligible to vote. I want to know. I want to see some numbers. I want to see some data.
Okay.
I also think this is another reason why we just need to get our politics right. We need to get serious about organizing.
Yeah, because we're not organizing, right?
Yeah, we're not organizing.
Yeah, we're not organizing. So,
Organizing is hard.
yeah, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal in terms of how organization happens in these neighborhoods. There's no telling how much. Like, I would really want to know how much money was behind him. I want to know how much money was behind him when he ran, as opposed to how much money was behind any opponent that he had. So it's some, But thank you for bringing that up, Carl. That's a really interesting question. I think I'm gonna do some digging with that and figure out like why that happened. Like, I understand why Rahm Emanuel happened, but I want to understand like why this happened, because that was one of the main complaints when this went down, and he wasn't anything to write home about. In my view, he was kind of abysmal in terms of doing his job. So
No.
I'm gonna look into that. Somebody said it was close.
Yeah,
Well, maybe that was
57%. But
Somebody
still.
said vote rigging. Somebody said redistricting. Somebody said gerrymandering. So yeah, it's a lot to look into. But yeah, that's interesting. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that though. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah, reelected.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Yvette. I love your show. I just started listening maybe like a month or two ago, so I apologize if you've already covered what I'm going to say. I listened to your show on Monday where you were talking about Henrietta and the medical apartheid.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not sure if you are aware or if you've already covered what's been happening with the CDC whistleblower and the government covering the autism vaccine link, and how African-American boys are 300 times more likely to be injured with vaccines. When you were talking about medical apartheid the other day, it just sort of made me think about that's kind of, it's still going on right now. So I wasn't sure if you were aware of that of that case of what's going on.
Not aware at all. Not aware at all. I have to look that up too. I'm not aware of that case. Anything with the CDC.
Okay, I'll email it to you. The lead CDC scientist basically came forward and said that they doctored the study.
What?
So, yeah.
Wow.
I'll email you some links though.
Okay, email me, editor@breakingbrown.com. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Somebody said yellow Jesus. I don't know nothing. Like y'all been watching this Shea Moisture story real close. I don't know. Hello?
Hey, yeah, Yvette.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hey, I'm calling. I like your show. I like what you're doing. I didn't catch everything, but I did see the topic. You talking about Jesse Williams' divorce.
Uh-huh.
Now, I just kind of feel some kind of way about it. You know, I mean, I know he got on BET, made this big pro-black speech. Like, it ain't been that long ago, and then, you know, then he's divorcing his wife, his black queen, now because he's basically got with a white woman. Like, you know, I mean, my thing is this: hey, you can be with whoever you're gonna be with. You know, I'm not knocking people that want to do whatever they're interracial, whatever they want to do, but you can't. That's messing up his image, basically. What I'm saying, you know, he came out there hard and strong, and you know, I saw a lot of black women on Facebook was cheering him, and then he go get a white woman. I mean, that wasn't a good look.
But he said that's not what he did. He said he put on. I saw on TMZ he had on a sweatshirt and he said, "Don't believe the hype." It was a sweatshirt. It was in the image out. But he had on a sweatshirt where he said, "Don't believe the hype." So I'm not saying one way or the other, but yeah, like you might have should have kept her around for a while. but yeah, I get what you're saying.
He should have done it. See, if he was gonna do it, I'll tell you what I think happened. Because he just recently, just in the last so many few years, he kind of like blew up, right? But when he started out, I think she was making more money than him.
Yeah, she was.
Now that he's making, now he's making more money. You know, he's gonna be exposed to, you know, women. Better looking women. So, you know, he probably was getting pulled to the side, and you know, hey, you know, you know, and he just, I mean, that's he should have just stayed with his woman. You know, that's what he should have did. You know, what I mean, I think he should have did that to for his brand or his image.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. I mean, I agree that I'm sure. Like, listen, some people say I don't say anything. This is not my lane. Okay, but some people say you're only as faithful as your options, and I just think that like he got a lot of options. Like people pull him aside, like, "Ooh, your sea green eyes," and all that stuff, right? So I don't know what he should have done. I just think we need to care about. I think we care too much about image. I mean, we have NAACP Image Awards. We care more about image than politics. So my whole point is, like, let's stop caring so much about image and let's start caring about our politics. Like, that's my whole point in this whole thing. So,
and his politics aren't that bad. So we gotta, like, I wish we could complicate this more. All right, keep going.
keep it. Hello?
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 Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yvette.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, Yvette, our name is intern. Love your show. You know, repeat caller, Watch Party Protege 2 points. About government, I have to push back on you a little bit about one away from somebody that says, like, you don't need government. No, you need to stand and fight them because they're trying to steal the government, what little government you do have.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
don't run away, just fight them right there. That's what that means. And secondly, working off of that burning house analogy, metaphor, strivers are basically, if you take somebody sets their house on fire, And instead of demanding that the fire department put out the fire, or even use a garden hose, they say, I'm going to go in this house and live a normal life, even though it's burning down around them. So,
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll let you guys get back to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I remember somebody called you two-hand Luke.
Yeah, I got a little quick with it sometimes. No, he had a great analogy last week when he called about like,
And I do need some lavender oil. I'm gonna have y'all mail it to me.
Black people, if you look at the numbers,
Go on, I'm sorry.
no. Black people, if you look at the numbers, our house is burning down, and the do for self folks are like, I don't need no fire department to help me. I got a hose, and like that's just not.
It's not only going to work. You know what the problem is?
Yeah.
It's not only the fact that your house is going to burn down. You live next door to me. You live next door to me talking about you going to put it out with a hose. So now my house going to catch fire because you stupid. So that's the problem of being around stupid people. You talk about, I got a hose. Wait a minute. I got it. And the water's like dripping out. Drip, drip. It ain't even a full-fledged force behind it because you in the black neighborhood ain't got no force to your water. And so like the problem is with being stupid. It's just like you are stupid in a way that's detrimental to other black people.
Yes.
And you can't do that. You can't be next door to me talking about you got a hose. I need the fire department to make sure that my house don't catch either. And you need my house not to catch so that you have somewhere to live when you get burned out. Because I know other people around here know you. I know you. You're my next door neighbor. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that needs to be unpacked in terms of like,
Do for self is a
what we do. Yeah. Somebody said everybody stop calling on them prepaid phones. So, black life, Lord. Stop laughing at me and pick up next call.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on? This is James from Chicago. I just started listening a couple weeks ago. I mean, I heard your Negro Whisperer show a long time ago. I loved it because that was the main reason why all those black people in political media came up, and nobody figured that out until they were gone.
Yep.
What I came to talk about today was I'm so frustrated with people who cannot deal with a legitimate Obama critique. The dude wasn't perfect. He was Wall Street's pick. And I mean, this 400K should be evidence, but people are still defending him. Even worse, the man ordered drones and everything else. And I go on my Twitter page every day seeing these same quote-unquote woke Negroes defending him, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Excuse me. What is wrong with you black liberals? My bad. I'm like, you realize that this man is part of the reason why you're not doing anything or getting anywhere right now, right? I mean, yeah, we can go back to Reagan, Bush, Clinton, and the other Bush, but he didn't really do anything to move things forward.
No, he actually moved things backward.
That's kind of where I'm coming at. I just don't understand people. Like, you can try to tell them what it is, but they're going to tell you, no, Obama was, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The only thing I'll say, Carla, is the only thing I'll say, bro, is that, like, propaganda is a hell of a drug. Propaganda is a hell of a drug.
But did you see that Essence spread with Michelle though?
Yeah, like, did you see, like, they were so beautiful. They were beautiful. Like but that's what we've been made to believe, that, like, how we're supposed to feel about the Obamas is supposed to be based on the fact that they're a black family and symbolically, and people are still stuck on that. In the Democratic Party and the Obamas, everybody's made us feel that way, and white supremacists made us feel that way too. Because they made us feel that, like, we're less than. So we need to be validated because we've been, like, portrayed as trash for so long. So there's a lot that's going into, like, how we feel. And, like, the one thing I'll say, like, Barack Obama's $400,000 that he was paid for that Wall Street speech, he was paid for selling out. That's what he gets for kicking black people out and not doing anything for black people. That's what the payout was for. Do you think, like, a black president, an African American president who went to the White House and tried to do something with black people would get Wall Street money? No, he would die destitute. That's why most of our activists die destitute. That's how it happens.
We should do a show on
everybody. That. Yeah, we should do a show on how many black people who are down for black people die broke.
Die broke. Oh, we can just call the role of civil rights leaders.
Yeah, all of them die broke. Why do you think he has this money? Why do you think white people still paying him? Yeah, that's payment for what you did. You hooked us up. We gonna hook you up. Come on, man. I itch.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, yes. How you doing, Yvette?
Yes.
How you doing? This is Michael from Georgia. I've been listening to you for a while now. Maybe, oh man, it's probably since you, I think since I first heard about you from, oh my God, I can't think of his name, but from the guy that's on the YouTube too. But I
got
heard about when you were talking about John Lewis. I went and looked him up, like, you know, how many bills he had sponsored, and I actually found out that he had only sponsored about, I think, 5 bills, and he's been there since, like, 88, and it's really, like, time to, like, change a lot of the, like, leadership that we have. They're, like, useless.
Yeah.
And President Obama is really indicative of that, because now you see that he has his $400,000 job, and he got the votes, and he ran. He was always a Wall Street guy, and that's what it really means.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
That's
caller.
really what it, you know,
That's what it
was.
is.
He
That's
was
what it is.
always the banks guy. He did everything for the banks, and black people just kind of sat there. You know, they would sleep at the wheel.
Yeah, no, that's
He just
true.
played them.
No, that's true.
Yeah, like John Lewis is right now in a legacy seat. He gets reelected based on what he did 40 years ago, and I don't know how I feel about that, and I don't know what that says about our politics.
No, it says something very bad about our politics. It says that we don't pay attention to politics. That's what it says.
Well,
That's what it
that's
says.
John Lewis. He marched
I was
with.
on the and listen, I don't want to make fun of him, but he just pisses me off. I just can't help it. Like he just upsets me. The fact that he continues to talk about the civil rights movement, he doesn't talk about what you need to do right now.
Right.
Like, what is your job today?
Yeah.
What is your job today? I don't have a problem with what he did. I think it was good what he did. I think it was wonderful what he did with King. But what are you doing today? We're in a like people don't understand the state that people think that we've progressed so much. We really haven't.
I don't know.
We
All I
really
saw, I
haven't.
saw a lot of black boys and girls get poisoned from lead, and John Lewis was doing a sit-in over a gun bill
control.
that wasn't going to go anywhere.
Gun control. And do you all know lead is a neurotoxin? Yeah. Like people think getting poisoned with lead is like, well, you know, it's just something you got to get out of your system. It's a neurotoxin. That's brain damage. Why are you protesting gun control when we're going through that? So that's the problem I have. I don't mean to bother anybody, but that's the problem that I have with him is that he's stuck on like everything I need to do for white liberals as opposed to everything I need to do for the black people in my district who are suffering. That's my problem with John Lewis. And I don't think that would have been Martin.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, Yvette. My name is Julius. I'm from New York. I only listened to you guys the past couple of weeks. I found out about you guys, but I really like the platform. And I like the message that you bring.
Good.
I have 2 questions. The first question is, do you or your staff, does your platform, do you guys do off-air, like hangout panels where you discuss things with, those as listeners or whatever?
We can do anything if you want to pay.
No, we don't. We have not yet done that, and we don't have a staff. He said staff. That was funny. No, we don't have a staff.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not. You don't have to be sorry. There's nothing to apologize for.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's no. There's nothing to apologize for, bro.
We got Amy and the intern.
I think my audio might be breaking up a little bit.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. You're fine.
Okay, so the other question I have, and this is what I'm wondering about this, because I'm thinking about it on my own. I'm 36 now, and I said to myself, I watched the 1%, even before the 1% movement, the 99% movement, even before that. I remember the hanging chads with the first Bush. The country was in an upward. Then, I was in the Marine Corps a while, and but even then I was paying attention to the country. We all were a little bit. And we see the 99%ers. We see that movement. And we see it get shut down. We see a push for health care. We see the whole country moving. And we see that essentially get shut down, even though we got Obamacare, like the essential provisions that the people were fighting for basically got whitewashed. I've seen that get shut down. I recently watched millions of women after hearing what the current president, his views and knowing he's a scumbag. I watched millions of women show up and protest, and I watched that pretty much get ignored. Now, at the same time that I was watching all of that, I watched the Alex Jones types in the 90s developed into the Tea Party, which then developed into the alt-right. My question is this: why is it that on the neoconservative side, it always seems like their essential message or whatever they want to do is galvanized, and if the train keeps moving along, why then on, they say liberal, but I think the more reasonable side, why is it that all of these real issues that are real concerns that clearly all of the people in the country, regardless of race, socioeconomic strata, we all agree with, why aren't those issues galvanized? Why can't we get it together? Like, I really don't get it, and that's essentially my question.
I mean, it's a combination of reasons, right? Like, first of all, we don't value organizers or organization. We don't value that. The second thing is that we don't have a media. We don't have any media. Like, if you look at the 1800s, 1900s, we had black media who were writing articles and sharing articles. I mean, how do you think that's how Ida B. Wells, that's how we know about her. That's what she was doing. And she wasn't alone. There were black media who were writing and doing investigative stories and all of that. We don't have that anymore, thanks to Clinton and the Telecom Act and all that. So we just don't have it. And so even the media that we do have is fixated on celebrity. They're fixated on stuff that doesn't affect our political economy, affect our material well-being. When I say affect our material well-being, what am I talking about? I'm talking about whether you can survive, your food, your house, whether you're stable, whether you're secure. We don't have articles about that. We have articles about, oh my God, Beyonce and Nicki Minaj got beef with this other rapper from the 1990s or early time. That's what we have. So you don't have places that are actually doing black politics that we need to be done. We don't have that. And so if you don't have a black media, and if you don't have a group of people who value organize and support organizing in the black community, what do you really have? I don't think you have much of anything. And that's really part of the problem. And I think, YouTube gives us an opportunity to actually do something and like create something. And I think we should support it as best we can here in terms of what we try to do, because that's what has to happen. You can't have anything. And let me just say that you have a bunch of people out there too who aren't created by black people. Like, you don't come out of the black community where you like, I don't have to listen to this. I got my people back here. Like, one of the things that I did, even when I was on Your Black World or whatever, I was like, I want, if anybody supports me, I want to make sure that I come out of the black community. I don't want to have some white organization or MSNBC pick me up and just be like, we want Yvette. Because after that, what do I have? I ain't got nobody support me. There ain't nobody who I can go home to. I need people to go home to and be like, we supported Yvette for a long time. That's what you have to have, though.
People will hold you accountable.
Yeah, and MLK, Ida B. Wells, all these people were supported by, I'm not saying they didn't get white support at all, like MLK especially, but you have to have your black base. Like, you have to know, like, there's nothing wrong with being owned. It's a matter of who owns you.
Yeah.
So go to I think we're gonna take the last one, Aaron.
Last one.
Okay.
Why won't corporate media? We see black people on corporate media.
Corporate media?
Why won't they give us what we need?
Why would they? Like, why would they give you what you need? Like, that's not your job. Your job is to explain to us what Obama just said. All that ooga booga boo. Explain to us what that meant. Like, be the whisperer of black people. That's your job. And like, it's Trump now. So like, you see MSNBC sliding to the right. And so you're around something else that you don't control. That's just the way it is.
Last call?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Yvette? This is Antonio.
What's up, Antonio?
So, nothing much. I just wanted to kind of tell everybody on Monday I'm going to be interviewing Thomas Shapiro from Black Wealth, White Wealth. And I'm going to bring that fire up in there and hopefully get a good discussion. Because, I listen to everybody, males and females. You guys bring great discussion points to the table, but I don't know if everybody understands that we're black. So many people, as they call in, I don't know if we really, one of the questions I'm going to ask Shapiro is this. Can we close the racial wealth gap if white people want to stay white? And I think that, as we start to listen to the conversation, so many African Americans, while they say our people are in distress, or they say what can we do, or if we can have more things, none of them really grasp that we possibly and most likely have been created as a permanent underclass here. I mean, we come from hundreds of years of slavery, and then essentially they've only given us access to small amounts of wealth, and then they've created propaganda tools to kind of create a low sense in our possibilities. Because Shapiro, one of the things that he kind of exposes is that before the 50s, black people weren't sold on opportunity. That's like a post-50s concept. That opportunity will be the answer to historical racism. The fundamental problem, though, is that wealth has calcified, so the only people that get opportunity have wealth. So if we don't have wealth, how can we get opportunity? And so I come back to what you were asking earlier, and I just wanted to make sure everybody's clear that the average white, the median white senator, congressman, is worth $1 million. $1 million. And you ask yourself whether the black ones are worth $1 million. And I'm telling you they're not. You got ISA who's worth $400 million. When you look at the last president since Reagan, you know who's the poorest of them all? I bet you don't have to guess. Barack Obama. He's only worth $7 million. Everybody else got bread. And you know who's the richest? Donald Trump. Donald Trump's sitting on over $5 billion. And I think that for us as a group, as we look at people, we always got to look at things in the lens of, like I said, in timing, and whether they really understand race and whether they really understand America. Even like when we looked at Claude Anderson earlier, I think one of the things I was trying to get you to really flesh out, make sure you guys look up Citizens United. It was a decision came out of the Supreme Court maybe 3 to 4 years ago. What it allowed for is unlimited resource giving to politicians by big money. What it led to is that billionaires no longer count. Only billionaires really count. That's why the Koch brothers were able to do what they were doing all throughout the South, particularly in North Carolina. So when you have Claude Anderson say we should buy a politician because you know that we don't have any money.
Yeah.
And so 1 billion, 6 white families own more land than all of black America. 40 million people, 14 million families. So much of our identity is framed, and I'll leave it at this, so much of our identity is framed around a belief that black and white are not interwoven, that their success is not built on our failure. And I think that until we challenge to deal with the concept that they need us to fail to actually have the kind of wealth they have, we'll never understand race. Look for my interview with Thomas Shapiro, probably Monday afternoon on Tony Talks. Thank you.
Thanks, Antonio. I appreciate it. I don't know what's going on. Is it us as the phones? Lots of phones tonight have been muffled. So, but thanks, Antonio. Yeah, Antonio Moore has that interview with Shapiro coming up. So we're gonna have to check that out. I'm sure that's gonna be up at Tone Talks. So check that out when that comes through. But I think he's right. We were sold on opportunity. What happens after that when you don't have that? There are people who own, payday loan companies and people who use payday loans. These are not the same people, though.
Good.
These are not the same people. So this whole idea of what we've been sold on in terms of opportunity, when there's no more opportunity, what does that leave you? So I hope that Antonio addresses that when he talks to Shapiro about what does that leave us in terms of wealth. Because there are a lot of hard questions that need to be asked and answered. So I hope he gets to that.
Money made off of black failure.
Yes. Oh, people going in. So I want to thank everybody who called in. I appreciate it. I want to thank Antonio at Tone Talks. If you haven't subscribed, go over there and take care of that. Go and subscribe to Tone Talks. And if go to Donate Brown if you haven't donated, donatebrown.com. Go to breakingbrown.com and you can subscribe to the newsletter. It's $2 a month. That's 50 cents a Sunday. It's just a place where I send you links and different articles I come across during the week that I think are important. And a lot of times, if I think it's a really important article, I put a summation of why it's important or additional links or whatever I think that you need to see. So take care of that. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, please, if you haven't liked already, like it, subscribe, and take care of that. And if you're in groups, if you're on Facebook and you're in groups, please just share it with your groups. even if your groups get mad or whatever, we can fight it out. If it gets too rough, tag me if you're my Facebook friend. But if you're in a group, just share it with your groups, and let's try, if we can, to like keep this conversation going. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for calling in, making this a really great night and having a really great time. And I appreciate you. And I will see you. I have something else I want to talk about. I never got to talk about, so I might do a quick hit sometime this week. But I want to thank all of you all for coming in, having the conversation, and I appreciate you.